Once upon a time, in the land of mango trees, moonlight meditations, and more spiritual gurus than you could poke a stick at, a young man named Siddhartha decided he wasn't buying what the world was selling. Now, don't confuse him with the Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. This isn't a biography. It's more of a spiritual fanfiction, if you will, a fictional tale loosely orbiting the Buddha's era, written by the brilliant, brooding German novelist Hermann Hesse, who, like many tortured intellectuals, had a penchant for soul-searching and probably drank a lot of dark coffee while staring at rivers. At its heart, Siddhartha is the story of a man who sets out not to conquer lands or amass riches, but to conquer himself. Sounds noble, right? But don't be fooled, it's messy. There's confusion, indulgence, suffering, and a whole lot of walking barefoot in search of meaning. What makes this book shine isn't just its spiritual wisdom, but the way Hesse gently, and sometimes cheekily, pokes at the idea that enlightenment isn't something you learn. It's something you live. So, buckle up your mental sandals, dear reader. Let's walk with Siddhartha, through forests, cities, brothels, and beside a very wise river, in search of the one thing everyone's chasing, peace. The Brahmin's son who was already bored. Siddhartha begins his tale as the golden boy of a Brahmin family. Handsome, smart, pious, and the spiritual equivalent of the kid who aces every test and still has time to help others meditate. The village is in awe of him. His best friend Govinda worships him. Even the birds probably chirp extra sweet when he walks by. But Siddhartha, he's unimpressed. Despite all the praise, rituals, and scriptures, something feels off. He senses the spiritual teachings are like drinking salt water. Lots of effort, no real satisfaction. In the stillness of his soul, he hears a quiet no. No, this isn't it. No, this can't be all. No, he won't find peace by reciting verses his heart doesn't understand. So, like a teenager who just discovered a Bob Dylan album, Siddhartha decides to rebel. He tells his father he's going to leave home to join the Samamas, ascetic monks who basically make fasting and suffering into an Olympic sport. His father is heartbroken but eventually gives his blessing, realizing that when a young man starts staring at rivers and talking in riddles, there's no stopping him. Govinda, the ever-faithful sidekick, tags along, because of course he does. Samama life, hunger, suffering, and goat-herding eyebrows. Siddhartha becomes a Samama, and let me tell you, it's not a glamorous lifestyle. Think extreme minimalism, but with more mosquito bites and fewer Instagrammable moments. They wander, they beg, they meditate, and they strip themselves of everything: ego, desires, clothes, well, mostly. Siddhartha starves himself, tortures his body, and aims to kill his selfhood like it's a pesky fly at a picnic. And for a while, it seems promising. He loses weight, sheds identity, and grows spiritually, or so he thinks. But deep down, a voice whispers again, no, this isn't it either. All the asceticism feels like just another ego trip, another ladder to climb, another mask to wear. That's when word reaches them of a man named Gautama, the Buddha, a man who has found enlightenment. Govinda's eyes light up like a kid at a candy store. Siddhartha, skeptical but curious, meeting the Buddha, so close yet so far. They travel to see the Buddha, majestic, calm, and positively glowing with inner peace. Govinda is instantly smitten and joins the Buddha's followers. Siddhartha, respectful but resolute, thanks Gautama for his teachings, but decides he can't follow anyone else's path. This is one of the most powerful moments in the book. Siddhartha recognizes the Buddha's wisdom but insists that true enlightenment can't be taught. It must be experienced. It's like someone giving you perfect directions to a place you've never emotionally visited. You can follow the map, but if your heart's not in it, you're just another tourist with a spiritual selfie stick. So Siddhartha leaves alone. And for the first time, without Govinda, without a teacher, without a tribe, he steps into the unknown. The worldly detour, money, love, and midlife crises. Just when you think Siddhartha might retreat deeper into spiritual discipline, he does the opposite. He walks into the city and falls in love, not just with a woman, but with the world itself. Enter Kamala, a beautiful courtesan who teaches Siddhartha the art of love. She's elegant, wise, and confident enough to turn a monk into a man of the world. Through her, he learns sensual pleasure. But to be her lover, he also has to learn how to live in the material world. That means money, so he becomes a businessman. And just like that, the man who once ate berries and begged for rice is now counting coins, wearing fancy robes, and getting annoyed when the help takes too long. Over the years, Siddhartha becomes wealthy, respected, and thoroughly jaded. He gambles, grows fat, drinks wine, and dreams disturbing dreams. He becomes disgusted with himself, like a spiritual rock star who sold out for corporate gigs and bad wine. He realizes he's lost himself in the pleasures he once thought were beneath him. So one day he walks away, leaves everything behind, money, power, Kamala, and begins again. Empty, broken, but strangely hopeful. The river knows everything and doesn't brag about it. Siddhartha stumbles to a river, on the edge of suicide. He's reached his lowest point, ready to throw in the towel and possibly his body. But something stops him. A sound. A sacred syllable, Om. It's as if the river itself whispers, "Hold on, buddy. You're not done yet." He falls asleep by the river and wakes renewed. Here, by the water, he meets a humble ferryman named Vasudeva. The man isn't a preacher or a sage, just someone who listens deeply. The river, Vasudeva says, teaches everything. You just have to listen. So Siddhartha stays. He becomes a ferryman. Not a banker, not a lover, not a monk. Just a man who helps others cross. The river becomes his guru. Its sounds, its rhythms, its timelessness. Siddhartha learns that life isn't linear. It flows, loops, returns. Every moment is connected. There is no past or future, just the eternal now. And in that, he begins to understand what he's been chasing all along. Reunions, reflections, and the final curveball. Time passes. Siddhartha grows older and quieter, blending into the river like a stone smoothed by years. Then fate rolls the dice again. Kamala, now a Buddhist convert, arrives with her son, Siddhartha's son. Plot twist? Kind of tragedy? Absolutely. Kamala dies and Siddhartha is left with a son who is, let's be honest, a total brat. Spoiled, angry, and completely unimpressed by river life. Siddhartha tries to raise him with love and patience, but the kid wants nothing to do with sandals and silence. Eventually, he runs away, breaking Siddhartha's heart. And here's the kicker. It's in this heartbreak that Siddhartha finally connects with the human experience fully. All this time, he sought to escape suffering. But in loving his son, in losing him, he learns the final truth. Real wisdom comes through love and loss, not avoidance. Govinda returns. The circle closes. Years later, Govinda shows up, still a spiritual pilgrim, still seeking enlightenment. He doesn't recognize Siddhartha at first. The friend he once followed is now just an old ferryman with a serene smile. They talk, and Siddhartha, without quoting a single scripture or giving a single sermon, shares his truth. He speaks of the river, of listening, of love, of letting go. Govinda listens, still confused. But when Siddhartha asks him to kiss his forehead, a simple, intimate act, Govinda sees, not with his eyes, but with his soul. In that moment, he understands. Enlightenment isn't a lesson, it's a presence. And Siddhartha, the boy who once ran from home in search of truth, has become that truth. Final thoughts, enlightenment with a wink. Siddhartha isn't a book that slaps you with answers. It wraps them in poetry, sets them afloat on a river, and dares you to wade in. It's about how truth can't be handed down. It must be lived, stumbled into, wept over, and sometimes lost in order to be found again. Hesse doesn't glamorize the spiritual journey. He shows it for what it is. Messy, non-linear, filled with detours through lust, greed, ego, and heartbreak. And yet, through all that, something sacred emerges. Not perfection, but peace. And here's the joke the universe seems to play. Siddhartha had to lose everything, including his desire for enlightenment, in order to finally find it. He had to become ordinary to touch the extraordinary. He had to stop searching to truly see. So if you're sitting there hoping a book will change your life, maybe it will. Or maybe it'll just be another stone in your river, guiding you without you even realizing it. And that, dear reader, is the most human thing of all. The end. Or maybe just the middle. After all, time is a river,